Deirdre of the Sorrows is a play by Irish dramatist John Millington Synge, first staged in 1910 by the Irish National Theatre Society at Dublin's Abbey Theatre. The work draws its story from the Ulster Cycle, one of the most important collections of pre-Christian Irish mythology. At its center is Deirdre, one of Ireland's most enduring tragic heroines, whose fate was foretold at birth. Her great beauty would bring destruction and bloodshed. Synge, a central figure of the Irish literary revival, and a gifted poet as well as playwright, died of cancer at 38 before the play was finished. It was later completed for production by his fiancée Molly Allgood, together with William Butler Yeats. The first act introduces Conchubor, High King of Ulster, who is on his way to see his ward, Deirdre. He had entrusted her upbringing to the nurse Levarcham, with the plan of making her his bride when she reached maturity. Traveling with his companion Fergus, he rides through the rain to find that Deirdre is not at home but wandering in the woods, gathering nuts and branches. Levarcham warns the king that the girl will not welcome him. Though she has grown into the beauty he hoped for, she is strong-willed, not submissive, and has no desire to marry a man of his years, even if he is king. Levarcham reminds him as well of the ancient prophecy that Deirdre's beauty will spark conflict and ruin. Conchubor, undeterred, insists he will take her to his castle at once. When Deirdre returns, he offers jewels and scolds her absence. She refuses his gifts and tells him plainly she will not go to Emain Macha to be his queen. He pleads with her, speaks of his loneliness, and describes the chambers awaiting her in his fortress. Deirdre acknowledges her betrothal but begs for another year in the countryside with Levarcham. Angered by her defiance, Conchubor orders her to be ready to leave within days. After he storms out, Levarcham urges her to obey, but Deirdre imagines herself like the great heroines of legend, determined to choose her own fate. She speaks of Naoise, a young man living nearby. As a storm rises, Naoise and his brothers, Eineal and Arden, seek shelter at Levarcham's cottage. At first, she resists letting them in, but they explain they were promised refuge by a beautiful woman they met in the woods, Deirdre herself. Once inside, Deirdre speaks privately with Naoise, telling him of Conchubor's demand. Already in love, the two decide to marry in secret, despite the prophecy. Eineal hastily blesses their union, and they resolve to flee together. Act 2 opens 7 years later. Deirdre, Naoise, his brothers, and Levarcham have lived peacefully on the island of Alban, far beyond the king's reach. Conchubor has spent those years hunting for them, and has at last tracked them down. Fergus arrives bearing a message of reconciliation and an invitation to return to Emain Macha. Levarcham distrusts the offer, warning Deirdre that the king's nature has not changed. A spy named Owen taunts her, hinting that Naoise's death awaits him in Ulster. Naoise refuses the summons, content to remain in Alban with his wife, but Deirdre urges him to go. She argues that if death is to come, it is better to meet it in youth, at the height of beauty and love, than to linger into decline. The final act takes place at Emain Macha. Levarcham tries to dissuade Conchubor, telling him Deirdre has grown old and lost her beauty. Soldiers soon contradict her. Deirdre, they say, is as radiant as ever. When Deirdre and Naoise meet, they speak openly of their fate and the likelihood of death. Conchubor enters, seeing Deirdre for the first time in 7 years. She appeals to him, asking him to put aside bitterness and allow them peace. He wavers, nearly persuaded, but it is too late. Naoise's brothers are already fighting Conchubor's men. Naoise himself joins the battle and is killed. When Fergus arrives with his followers, he realizes Conchubor has broken his oath of peace and lured Naoise to his death. Enraged, Fergus sets Emain Macha ablaze. Levarcham begs Deirdre to escape, and Conchubor offers to take her elsewhere, but she refuses. Choosing death over life with the king, she seizes Naoise's dagger and falls into his grave. Conchubor is left bereft and alone. Though Synge did not live to complete the drama, Deirdre of the Sorrows endures as a celebrated retelling of the ancient legend, deeply rooted in the Irish sense of place and cultural pride at the dawn of the 20th century. Synge, a co-founder of the Abbey Theatre, left a lasting legacy through his plays and distinctive style, which shaped the theatre's direction for decades and influenced later writers, including Samuel Beckett. Thank you for watching. If you enjoy this video, leave a like and subscribe.